Like a few weeks ago, they absolutely tonked you guys the night before Magic Weekend. Looked absolutely glorious, and then, but generally this year have been underwhelming. Is probably an over compliment. And
Yeah,
then
they were
London
okay
have been the
against.
exact opposite, I suppose, haven't they? They've been awful, and then the last
Yeah,
6 weeks or so, absolute turnaround. I mean, the changing coach clearly has worked at London.
yes, for whatever reason that they were not liking Jermaine Coleman's direction, I would say. So, but yeah, Newcastle up and down. I thought they looked all right at the Summer Bash actually, but yeah, they were playing a tough team. Um,
For me, the question isn't necessarily where teams are going, who's going to be in the playoffs, who's going to get relegated. I think that's all decided, and I think Lee have got the league leaders shield if they give that out in that division. But the question I have is, will Featherstone get to that promotion final?
they'd have a tough match definitely against Halifax and Batley. I think both of those teams are generally playing pretty well. Halifax probably the stronger of the two. So
You
if it
think
works
York's
out that
attack struggling a bit, and Barrow's defence always all year has looked patchy, hasn't it?
yeah,
So they're
I
probably not good enough to beat Fev. But
no, I do think if Featherstone have to play either Halifax, I mean obviously Batley have beaten them this year already and drew against them in the other match. Halifax have been close. So yeah, it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be difficult. But I'm sure Brian Mack's got it all sorted out. I'm sure he'll be fine.
into League One, shall we go?
Yes, so it was round 18 in League One. It was London Scholars 68, West Wales 18, Cornwall 12, North Wales 36.
Mark Butler got in touch on this, the R-League game. He said, a game in which neither side will be particularly satisfied. Only the first half, understandably in the heat, had much intensity, while Crusaders made easy meters. They'll feel they could have looked after the ball better and cut loose. Cornwall worked hard rather than smart and were dominated one-on-one rather too easily. Ultimately, a routine job done for the Crusaders, but Cornwall competed better after the break.
It was Doncaster 26, Rochdale 20, Swinton 22, Keighley staying unbeaten with 26, Midland Hurricanes 36, Oldham 41.
Yeah, what a thriller. And Barney at Baton Hall Blue was at this one. He said, Midlands decided to try and win the game from 39-0 down in the last 21 minutes. If they had started 5 minutes earlier, they might have done it. First half was tight, but Oldham capitalised on Midland's errors for 2 of their tries, but taking a drop goal was a sign of respect to the defence. Second half, Oldham started like a train. Good running, 40-20s, good tries, but then the fight back. 6 converted tries, just not quite enough. No, but plenty of entertainment for everyone who decided to go and watch that one. Keighley, they look like they're going up now. They're at the top, now on 32 points and 4 points ahead of North Wales, who just have 3 games to play. North Wales do. Keighley have 4 to play. The 2 play each other in round 21, but it could all be over by then. If Keighley keep the winning run up, which you would expect them to, they'll be promoted by round 21. Swinton and Doncaster both have 24. Rochdale in 5th have 22 points. Hunslet complete the playoff picture on 17 points. Oldham have 11. Scholars have 10. Hurricanes have 8. Cornwall and West Wales both have 2. So, similar conversation to what we were having. Obviously, the promotion works a bit different. Top side goes up automatically. Do you think there's any implosion possible at Keighley now, or do we think it's theirs?
I think it's theirs. I don't know who they've got left to play in their remaining 4, but I would imagine at least a couple of those are against teams that they're vastly superior to. So I think Keighley are, put the mortgage on Keighley going up, I would say.
Probably the sternest challenge, wasn't it, this week at Swinton?
Yeah.
They battered Swinton early in the season in the reverse. It's just Swinton obviously a lot more competitive on the home turf. The other team to go up then, where do you think that battle lies?
Obviously, North Wales had they had a bit of a dip, didn't they, in the middle of the year, but they seem to have got over that after being kind of, jointly setting the pace early on. I'm going to go against that though. I'm going to say Swinton will be the other team. That's my instinct. Even though actually North Wales are going to be way ahead of them on points.
I think it's really tricky, isn't it? Because one week Rochdale will compete with North Wales, the next week Swinton will batter Rochdale, and the week after that Doncaster are beating Rochdale, and they're all kind of beating each other. No one's really pulling away from each other in that sort of group. North Wales are a bit further away, but that's more because of the start than because of the recent form, I suppose. I think it'd be really interesting. I think it might depend on if North Wales have a day like it sounds like they had against Cornwall, where they've been a bit sloppy with the ball, because North Wales, I think, need to get their points. I don't think they can defend their way to a win against any of these other sides, but I think they can attack their way to a win against all of them.
I think that's a fair point. I still just, I don't know, I've just got an inkling that Swinton will be the second team.
Well, it will be interesting if North Wales go up, because big news out of North Wales Crusaders this week. They've confirmed head coach Anthony Murray will leave the club at the end of the season. Murray, who started his second spell at the club in 2018, has decided to step down from his position, so it's his choice. I couldn't have imagined it would be anything different. I don't know the ins and outs and the reasons for it. Maybe Mark will have a bit more insight. He's our man in North Wales, but he's done a pretty decent job, hasn't he? Especially like the last two seasons, after sort of consolidating again when he came back in, he's then built a team that's really enjoyable to watch, really competitive.
Yeah, he was probably my League One Coach of the Year last year, because of the way that he kind of made that kind of perennial mid-table team actually,
Well, it could have been the commentary
chase.
coach, but it turned out he had money on himself for it. So
Indeed, but yeah, no, he's done a fantastic job. I think it'll be quite some big shoes to fill, I would say, because he's done a fantastic job and continues to do so.
I wonder if he'll get any other role in the sport or anything like that. You'd think he'd be a good candidate for an assistant's job at a higher level club.
I don't see why not.
We'll see, obviously. I don't know what his outside of rugby league life is and that sort of stuff, so
No,
I
exactly.
really don't know enough, but he's done a cracking job.
Indeed. Should we talk about the NRL?
Yes.
It was round 21. It finished Roosters 34, Broncos 16.
And the reason why I said yes with such excitement is NRL Review is back. In their own words, by popular demand. And in this game, they said, Ponies got dicked. They were missing their Irish star Patty O'Carrigan, whilst the Cocks had their Shamrock Luke Keary. Not really a contest with Dr. Teeth in fine form.
Yeah, if you demand it yourself, I'm not sure it's popular demand, but anyway. It was Storm 32, Titans 4.
I did mention last week I thought he'd have got in touch when the Eels had a big win, but yeah.
Storm 32, Titans 14.
NRL Review said, this one was tighter than it should have been. The difference was Herman at the back penetrating them 3 times. You could see their sphincters tighten. Here comes the rain again.
It was Sea Eagles 20, Eels 36.
With thanks to the Electric podcast and Phil Brown, NRL Review got in touch to say, I was treated to a free ticket from a Snake supporter and then an upgrade to the members' aviary section. The game was tight with the next kicks and a highlight early. A big game from the Giraffe helped the Snakes change lanes. From then, the Snakes dominated.
It was Rabbitohs 48, Warriors 10.
The start seemed tight, but the Concerned were soon worried as the Hoppers bounced past them and never looked back. Glory hole, glory hole.
It was Raiders 6, Panthers 26.
That's the key in it, repetition of gags. And obviously said there was calls of ambush all week with the Black Pussies without the caveman and toilet eyes. The Lime Factory couldn't manufacture anything though. Black Pussies pummeled them.
Sharks 24, Dragons 18.
This was such a nothing game. Even Aldi Heath Ledger couldn't excite anyone.
Bulldogs 14, Cowboys 28.
I wanted to check out those puppies. I was a little disappointed as the reverse cowgirls spun them around. Casanova Villas played well, but the highlight with Jack Burton, in brackets, leave him alone, and his spiral bombs.
And West Tigers 10, Knights 14.
Jackson, Battle of Hastings, was missing for the Ginger Pussies, and so it seemed was their attack. The Daywalkers looked set to stroll to victory, despite a ton of errors. In the end, it came down to the last play, but in true Pussy style, they muffed it.
Indeed.
All that means the Panthers are top on 38 points, Cowboys have 32, Sharks have 30, Storm and Eels have 28, Rabbitohs and Broncos have 26, and the Roosters complete the top 8 on 24 points. The Raiders are chasing on 22, with the Sea Eagles and Dragons they have 20 points. The rest are out of it now. Bulldogs and Knights have 14, Warriors have 12, West Tigers have 10, Titans are bottom on 8 points. Shows that you might be a master coach at one club, but you're not at your next as well, doesn't it? That
it does.
So you can't predict when you make those appointments. NRL news. We talked a bit about last week about Jerome Luai being signed up for Samoa. This week it's Josh Papali'i, who has confirmed his allegiance to Samoa for the upcoming World Cup. The Canberra Raiders and Queensland Origin prop forward. And then it was mentioned in dispatches there, but Sydney Roosters halfback Luke Keary is set to represent Ireland in the halves alongside Richie Myler, former England international at this year's World Cup. So that's an interesting one there, but it looks like they might have a halfback pairing as good as England's if Johnny Lomax can't play after he's carrying an injury all year. But yeah, and then former Leeds Rhinos head coach Richard Agar has signed a 2-year deal as an assistant coach for New Zealand Warriors from 2023. That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's probably quite a good gig, I would guess. But yeah, I'd wish him all the best there. What I would say about the two stories above, I think all three of those players improve those teams, don't they?
Yes, without that.
So I think Samoa, I know, you don't play matches on paper, but on paper they've got a very, very strong team, and England won't be able to have a slow start on the 15th.
The only thing that'll be interesting is how quickly they can come together, because it will be a group that won't have had any matches together, whereas England at least will have had one match with the full squad and have had like all the training camps together and the combis game and stuff with half the squad together and things. But yeah, England need to get their preparation right, because that's the thing that's possibly going to beat Samoa. Preparation and fans. So get yourselves to St James's Park to the World Cup opener if you haven't already got your tickets. Nothing else this week to talk about in terms of results and stuff, but I'm still laughing about Here Comes the Rain again. But yeah, that's the World of Rugby League recapped. We're now going to make our predictions for the next week in Super League. Guesses time, Alan. Round 23 of Super League starts Thursday night, 8 p.m. on Sky. A relegation 4-pointer. Warrington hosting Toulouse. Warrington are expecting Dufty to be back. He's been named in the squad. Toulouse have still got quite a few injuries, but no new injury concerns that are going to hamper them really here. So it's which team can bounce back from disappointing defeats. I think Warrington should be able to win this one comfortably, but that doesn't mean they will. I'm gonna say that they will, though. I'm gonna say Wire by 20. Wow.
Okay. I think there'll be a lot of points. I think it might be like a 24-26 or something like that. I don't see there being as big a margin as that. Oh, fuck it. I'm going to go to lose by 2.
Okie dokes. Friday 8 p.m. Castleford hosting Catalans. Castleford's resurgence in form in the mid-season period came underpinned a lot by a home victory over Catalans. Do you think they can repeat the dosage against a depleted Catalan side? Let's not forget. No, I'm not going to say Cas aren't depleted. They certainly will be too.
Everybody is at this time of year.
Everyone is apart from Wigan. I mean, although we were missing